I've been a journalist most of my career. I started out working for the great radical independent journalist I.F. Stone as his only staff. I worked for Pacifica Radio, I worked for the Village Voice, then I went on to the Washington Post during the Watergate era. I've been editor of a couple of magazines, including working papers for New Society. I'm currently co-editor of the American Prospect. And in between, I was the chief investigator of the Senate Banking Committee, where I really learned about finance. In late 2006 and early 2007, in my role as co-editor of the American Prospect, after Obama declared, I got extremely interested in who this guy was. And I think any of us who read his first book, Dreams from My Father, had to conclude that this was a very, very interesting, unusual politician. Now, at the time, he was slightly to the right of the other leading Democrats who were in the field. Edwards certainly was more progressive on economic issues. Hillary was a bit better on some issues. But Obama, to me anyway, and I think to a lot of other people, he seemed to be the guy who possibly had a spark of greatness in him, who was capable of real growth in office and maybe who could rise to a moment of crisis and perhaps be a transformative president. And that's how Obama's Challenge, my first book for Chelsea Green, my first book on Obama, came about. And the publisher and I decided that we'd take a risk. We would publish the book before the election results were known, and we'd either have a bestseller or a bonfire. And Obama got lucky, we got lucky, maybe the American people got lucky, because I think by the time we published that in August of '08, it was clear that the financial crisis was going to be very serious, and it was clear that Obama was very likely to be elected president because the voters were inclined to throw the rascals out. So that brings me to the question of how he's doing. In Obama's Challenge, the book, I wrote that he would either be a great president or a failed president. He would either be the next Roosevelt or he would be the next Hoover, because the crisis was so severe and the potential of really transforming assumptions about what we need to do for the economy was so profound that he would either catch the wave and surf the wave, or the wave would sink him. In the new book, A Presidency in Peril, I pick up the story of Obama's first year, what he did, why he did what he did, why he did not turn out to be Roosevelt, and where we think his opportunities lie as we go forward from here. This is a man who cares about human rights, civil rights, he cares about foreign policy. Economics is not the subject that he knows best. He raised a ton of money on Wall Street. Wall Street was his biggest single contributor. He was not inclined to be the kind of radical president that Roosevelt was in 1933. So he hired the old guard. And then the old guard reinforced his predisposition to look for common ground with the Republicans, to look for common ground with Wall Street. He's starting to move in the right direction. That's the good sign. We have to help him. It's always tricky when you have progressives who supported a progressive president and he doesn't live up to expectations. And I've said many times, we need tough love for Barack Obama. We need to push him and prod him and help him become the president who we hoped he could be.